Blockchain New Zealand join us. And I'd like to start with an opening statement. Firstly, we're really pleased and grateful for the committee's hard work. Blockchain New Zealand's Executive Council includes lawyers, academics, computer scientists, engineers, IT experts, VASP operators, and bankers. We will be happy to support the committee with its review after this process is finished. We encourage the committee to look at the report prepared by the Australian Select Committee on Australia as a Technology and Finance Centre. This committee undertook an extensive consultation process. The report covers many of the key issues involving cryptocurrencies and VASPs. The report itself includes possible solutions, some of which may be relevant for us. We believe any New Zealand crypto licensing framework should balance consumer protection and local innovation. Speaking to a Singaporean crypto expert, the Singaporean licensing of VASPs took 400 applications a couple of years ago. Because of delays, 300 withdrew their application, and after years waiting, only 4 licenses have been recently issued. We encourage any New Zealand licensing framework to match regulator internal resources and appetite to regulate crypto, to avoid bottlenecks and barriers like in Singapore. We believe crypto custody standards can and should be improved, either through regulation or industry standards developed by the market and government. The Financial Markets Conduct Act regulates client money and property services without the need for a license. Perhaps a similar model could be explored for New Zealand crypto custody. There are many types of crypto assets: payment tokens, utility tokens, NFTs, governance tokens, security tokens. Potentially every token could be a virtual asset, which under New Zealand's AML laws, based on the Department of Internal Affairs guidance, will mean people issuing the token or providing services on the token will be VASPs, triggering AML reporting entity obligations. We encourage the committee to explore how more clarity can be given to the industry on which types of tokens are virtual assets for AML purposes. Lastly, we encourage the committee to consider future-proofing any solution or regulations proposed. Current New Zealand regulations contemplate a single counterparty complying with regulations. However, crypto and blockchain is inherently designed to remove counterparties. Any regulation should account for the peer-to-peer nature of DeFi, DAOs, Web3, and metaverses. Unless Ross has any other statements, we're very happy to answer questions.
Right, I can see Greg O'Connor has one already, so let's go to Greg.
Yeah, just a sort of fairly basic question. If the cryptocurrency market collapsed, would the blockchain industry continue, or are the two so closely intertwined, symbiotic, that the death of either would be the death of both?
I think that's a nuanced question. Perhaps Brian also has something to add. I think the short answer is no. It really depends how the companies in that space manage their treasury. And while many of those will be receiving significant investment paid in cryptocurrency, they're unlikely to hold 100% of their treasury in cryptocurrency. It's likely to be diversified with still a big cryptocurrency component. The technology itself doesn't really rely on price. It's still going to work in the same way as it's programmed, regardless of the price. And we've seen some pretty wild volatility with Bitcoin, for example, over the years, and that has not hampered the industry at all.
All right.
I'd like to add as well.
Sorry,
I'd like to add as well that I thought I'd like to add that the crypto market, the marketplace for crypto assets has crashed several times before, and the industry has only become stronger over the years.
But you still haven't asked my question. Are they symbiotic?
There is a relationship. However, the industry will find ways to continue even if prices drop, and the industry has only gotten stronger, even though there's been price drops, at least 3 price drops over the last 4 years. Over the last several years.
Simon, what?
Yeah, thank you. What countries internationally should we be looking towards in terms of regulation in this space?
There are models based in offshore jurisdictions, which could be a good framework to start off with. There aren't necessarily perfect regulatory frameworks. For instance, in the UK, the FCA regulates VASPs already under a licensing regime, and anecdotally, that's caused similar bottlenecks and barriers to entry as the Singaporean licensing regime. Perhaps a framework that balances regulator appetite and resource to regulate and license would be useful, and perhaps regulations which are still robust but don't require licensing might be a good start.
So, I mean, one of the challenges here, and your organisation is perhaps representative of it, is that if you were to situate regulation within, I don't know, MB in its financial market sector, you'd be looking at one thing, but then it equally would fit. You know, it's got justice elements, it's got computing and technical elements, and it strikes me as being very multidisciplinary. Do you think that there's a need in government to have a kind of cross-departmental and interdisciplinary approach to both, not just regulation, because I think that's pitching it a bit wrong, but just kind of market the assistance, how government should address, assist, and regulate?
I could probably start on that one, Brian. Yes, I think it's a very good idea. As you said, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, that it is very multidisciplinary. It involves both a financial aspect and a technology aspect. Obviously, there's risks with the financial market side of things, and there's a lot of benefits as well. So I think it would either need to sit within a government department that is multidisciplinary by nature, and I guess MB is a little bit that way, or alternatively, there could be some type of secretariat or agency that could be created that is multidisciplinary, that coordinates Reserve Bank, FMA, all the industry operators, and so forth.
Yeah. All right.
I support Ross's comment, and I can add as well that the major Western jurisdictions have working groups on crypto, which are multi-agency.
Yeah, and is there any intergovernmental groups? I mean, the OECD is often a place where cross-government policy, at least on regulation of things like taxation and the like, happens in technical areas. Are you aware of that happening? That kind of thing happening?
I'm aware of the Financial Action Task Force taking a lead on the regulation of crypto for AML purposes. And that's multi-jurisdictional. New Zealand's a part of the FATF regime. I'm not aware of any other coordination beyond that, though I would support it.
Yeah, that's a useful
we would support it.
Piece of information. All right. Well, look, thanks very much for your time. It's been a really useful submission, and obviously your written submission is substantial as well. So thank you very much for your help and for the work that Blockchain NZ does. Kia ora.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Janine's messaged everyone, so thanks, Janine. All right. Now, I'm not sure if we have our next submitter here. Perhaps the clerk could provide. Have we got? Janine, are you submitting for Easy Crypto?
That is right. Yeah. I've just been asked to come in a little bit early, so forgive me. I've missed. I just caught the tail end of Brian and Ross, but I'm sure everything they said was fantastic, and I'm sure I agree as well.
That's a risky endorsement. Hey, well, Janine, we've talked to you before, if I remember rightly, and why don't I just hand it straight over to you to talk to your submission and just answer any questions?
Sure thing. So look, I'm not going to talk much. I just had a few very